Hello everyone, and welcome. My name is John Turner, and that opening sequence you just saw is from a Japanese animated series we're here to talk about tonight. It's called The World of Naruway. Chances are you may not be familiar with it, and that's understandable. It's a show that lasted only 12 episodes, and unfortunately isn't widely known among anime fans. However, I personally feel like this underrated series deserves better recognition. In fact, it's a perfect occasion for a holiday like Valentine's Day. That's right, this is also a love story, and a very cute one at that. So now, let's get ready to experience a special showcase of this charming series in the form of tonight's panel, The World of Naruway, a direct hit to your heart. The World of Naruway begins on a rainy day in Japan. Kazuto Iizuka, a shy but lovable teenager returning from school, sees an adorable puppy all drenched and generously offers his umbrella.
I guess no one took you in, huh, little guy?
But the puppy isn't as innocent as he appears to be. Just when it looks like our hero is done for, a girl appears out of nowhere and rescues him. Yep, it takes just one swing of that bat to subdue such a monster in this story, believe it or not. Anyway, she then leaves without telling him her name, but leaves behind the bat. Then Kazuto sees a name on it, Nanase. The following day after school, Kazu aspires to give the bat back to the girl.
Hey, Nanase!
Yes, that's me.
Shyly, Kazu asks her out to tea, resulting in this exchange.
Iizuka, even if we go, I'll just be boring.
That's not true!
Even if we're poor?
Yes!
Even if I'm gloomy?
Yes!
Even if I like to read women's magazines at the newsstands?
Sure.
Even if I'm an alien?
Mm-hmm. Wait! What?
Alien? Did she say alien? Yes. Naruway is indeed a being from another world, the planet Nihon to be exact. She and her father, Tadashi, live in an apartment with a rather unusual nameplate.
The Galaxy Federation. Well, your nameplate sure has some character.
Over the course of 12 episodes, we follow Naruway and Kazuto as they get to know each other. That's the synopsis of The World of Naruway, in a nutshell. Simple though it may be, this show has some engaging qualities which make it more than just fluff. It is filled with a charming cast of quirky, lovable characters, adventure, heart, and yes, romance. The show is also packed with jokes, one of which will remind you of a certain scene from a beloved movie in a popular franchise.
Hello there. Computer, will you please respond?
Computer? Hello, computer.
It also delivers messages about getting along and acceptance of others no matter how different they are. And that's not even the half of it. So now, we invite you to join us as we take you on a tour of this charming series. Are you ready?
Let's go.
The characters who populate the world of Naruway are a rather intriguing, likable bunch. Of course, the focus is primarily on Naruway and her boyfriend, Kazuto. Aside from being sweet-natured and spunky, Naruway also has some unique abilities. See the headband on her hair? It allows her to transport anywhere she wants. But as she tells Kazu, it's not just any headband.
It's really a forward connector.
Forward connector? I always thought you had some kind of ESP and that's how you were teleporting.
That's not it. I'm connected to a starship orbiting the Earth.
She's also extremely loyal to Kazu, ready to defend him at any opportunity.
Watch out, Kazu!
But like most people her age, Narway does, on occasion, have her moments of vulnerability. She can get depressed, annoyed, fearful, and yes, even jealous sometimes. Yet her biggest problem is that she is often called upon to return to her home planet by the stern-faced Inspector Tail Mesa from the Galactic Federation, which of course she doesn't want to do.
The Galaxy Federation does not allow Galaxy citizens to inhabit the planet Earth. I know I have said this before, but we would very much like you and Tadashi Nanase to leave at some point in the future and return to the planet Nihon.
But I was born here on Earth.
Luckily, she has Kazu to help her out. Speaking of Kazuto, he's anything but your typical romantic lead. For one thing, he happens to be an anime fan, and at one point he shows Narway an episode from his favorite show.
I'm a magical girl who fights for love and peace. They call me Magical Girl number 4. It's a direct hit to your heart.
This story is really popular, even among your typical picky anime fans who only watch subtitled versions.
You've watched this how many times now?
Huh? Oh, lots.
You must really like it.
But he also doesn't much care for his mother or sister, especially when they annoy him.
Sorry to come in dressed like this. I took a day off of work because I was feeling a little under the weather.
You're resting from a hangover!
Can't you at least stop watching anime while your friends are over?
Dumb.
Yeah, alright, whatever, just get out of my room! Sorry, it's not very relaxing.
It's fun when it's rowdy. It's just Dad and me at home. I really envy you and your family.
They're not so bad. They just can't help but be nosy.
Kazuto also shows himself to be very insecure at times.
Nothing special, really. It's wonderful that Narway goes out with me. But I'm always worried whether or not I'm the right guy for her.
Luckily, Narway's constant loyalty proves that he is her special someone.
What you get isn't as important as who is giving it to you.
Narway.
Now that you've come to know Kazuto and Narway, suppose we meet some of their neighbors. First off, there's Masaki Maruo, Kazuto's best friend, a zany, well-meaning know-it-all who is primarily comic relief. He also happens to be an expert on girls. Or so he claims.
Even I, Masaki Maruo, known the world over as Dr. Hunkenstein, the guru of love, am at a total loss for words!
For instance, when Kazu takes Narway on her first date, Maruo gives his pal a checklist of do's and don'ts.
Pay for everything on the date. Do not let her pay for a thing. Losers go Dutch. Losers! No video games. If you play them, you may potentially isolate the girl.
But guess who ends up breaking the rules?
Thank you very much for coming to McDonald's.
Oh, let me get it.
Oh no, Kazu, we're going Dutch.
And then, when Kazuto and Narway are watching a movie together,
Oh man, I didn't get much sleep last night. No, I can't go to sleep during the movie. Narway will hate me.
Very hungry. I'll be back. See you at the party. Now get to the chopper.
What am I supposed to do now?
despite this, Maruo still does try to help his best pal whenever he can,
I'm coming for you!
whether he is successful at it or not. Then there is Kanaka Nanase, who is Narway's younger, older sister. Wait a minute. Younger, older sister? What exactly does that mean? It's kind of complicated, but maybe Narway and Kanaka's father can explain it.
Kanaka traveled to Earth on a high-speed ship. Inside the high-speed freighter, time slowed down. Which means, while only a few weeks passed inside that ship for her, an entire 15 years passed here on Earth.
Bonus points if you understood all that. I still find it complicated, but this is a sci-fi story too. Anyway, Kanaka isn't as youthful as she looks, and she's not afraid to let anyone know that.
You look like you go to elementary school.
I'm 12 years old, moron!
Oh, and did I mention that Kanaka possesses a really nasty kick? Yeah, she does. Incidentally, Kanaka isn't too happy to see Narowe when she first comes to Earth.
You're not my sister. I won't accept it.
Fortunately, Kazu helps smooth relations between them. For some reason, however, Kanaka insists on calling Kazuto Old Man. Don't ask why.
We don't need the old man anymore.
She's getting on my nerves.
But Kanaka isn't so bad once you get to know her. She actually has a sweet and cheerful personality too. As Kanaka warms to both Narowe and Kazuto, she becomes more and more supportive of their relationship and tries to help them in various circumstances. For instance, in one episode, it becomes apparent that Kazuto can't swim, and he needs more than a gentle nudge. Did I say gentle? So, Kanaka gives him a special lotion to enable him to swim. This formula gives Kazuto a rather interesting makeover.
Kazu, what is up with that look?
Looking sharp, Astro Boy!
Quit laughing! The old man's trying to swim here!
Okay.
It seems to do the trick. Until something else happens.
Someone stop me! Kazu!
Ouch. But at least she means well. That said, Kanaka still has moments where she can be mischievous as well as pushy.
Pushy?
Kanaka's caregiver is Bathyscaph, a mild-mannered, wise, down-to-earth woman who also happens to be an android spaceship. Bear with me, okay? She acts as something of a mother figure to Kanaka as well as Narowe, and of course, she provides support to our pals. Beyond that, she is also quite skillful. She has the ability to transmorph her starship body, yes, that's what she calls it, into a most comfortable house. She can also transport it. Bathyscaph even has a special trick with her hair, which can be put to good use in compromising situations.
I'm sorry to have frightened you, Miss Kanaka, but extreme measures were necessary.
Perhaps the most interesting character in the show is Hajime Yagi, Maruo's next-door neighbor and friend.
I wouldn't say friends. We can't seem to get rid of each other.
As much as she denies it, she and Maruo are in many ways alike. Just as Maruo claims to be a know-it-all when it comes to dating girls, Yagi is a self-proclaimed expert too, of a different passion, space aliens and UFOs. As such, she refuses to believe that Narowe is a real alien.
Nanase is such a figure! You're all being fooled by her! What part of her even remotely looks alien?
In fact, she goes to all sorts of extremes to get Narowe to admit that she's a phony, even if it gets her into trouble.
Oh, my nose! Well, look at that. You're just a normal human after all.
What's going on here? Hajime!
She even disrupts Kazuto and Narowe's first date.
I get it now, you rotten phony alien! You call yourself an alien to make yourself the non-conformist girl, so you can gain popularity with the boys. Listen up, Buster! You're being fooled by her little song and dance act.
Huh?
I mean, look at you! No matter what you tell people, you're obviously human. According to eyewitnesses in West Virginia, aliens are at least 3 meters tall. It's even been documented in the Ultimate UFO DVD collection that aliens who visited England have giant wings on their backs and shoot lasers from their antennae. How could you possibly expect anyone to believe you're an alien? You clueless loser!
Fortunately, Maruo was there to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Sorry for the disturbance, folks!
In fact, Yagi and Maruo often quarrel frequently, such as in this scene.
Here I I am pouring my heart out to the cosmos, and you're there spoiling my mood with that noisy thing. Go play somewhere else.
Hey, Yagi, why don't you join me in a duet? Maybe if we're good, a UFO might come down and whisk us away.
Shut up! Why's everyone making fun of me?
What does she mean, everyone?
But as with Kanaka, Yagi isn't as bad as she seems, according to Bathyscaph.
What you see frequently is not always her true nature. She hides the truth well.
What are you talking about?
She acts strong, but she is actually very lonely.
With her parents barely around and without many friends, Yagi usually buries herself into her books about UFOs. It is Kanaka, of all people, who is the first to befriend her. Ironically, on the same day she begins school.
So, you're starting junior high today, Kanaka. I thought for sure you'd be in elementary school.
Elementary what?
Nothing.
Sorry, wrong scene.
I'm always into my books. I'm not much fun to hang out with, I guess.
Hey, that's not true at all. You're intelligent and interesting. You're the nicest person I've met since I've moved here.
You're the first person to ever say that to me.
It's because of this friendly overture that Yagi changes her attitude toward Narowe, especially when she learns that Kanaka and Narowe are sisters. Subsequently, she tags along with the two of them, as well as Kazuto and yes, Maruo, on other adventures. Even with her change of heart though, there are still moments where she gets to show her former, irascible, bossy self.
But you idiots have to hurry up and study!
And she freaks out every time she sees something unusual.
What was that? Did you see that? Did you?
Even with her personality flaws, Yagi still turns out to be a true friend to Narowe, especially in situations where it seems as though Narowe is at her lowest point.
If there's something really bothering you, I think the best thing to do is to just ask him directly.
She gradually warms a bit to Maruo, whether she wants to admit it or not.
Yagi, are you in love with me?
Is the blood rushing to your brain?
Who wouldn't love a good series with characters as engaging as these? And who wouldn't want to go on adventures with these guys? Well, throughout the show, Narowe and her friends travel to all sorts of places where they get to have experiences of their own, including, of course, outer space, shopping centers, forests, jungles, rapids, the beach, the mountains, a festival, and even a hot springs resort. There's even one episode where a day at the public pool turns into a wild, bizarre, and literally out-of-this-world adventure, complete with ever-changing scenery, titanic beasts, and even a waterslide journey. What fun!
How did a jungle in ruins end up in the middle of a public pool?
So what? At least you've got some energy left to shout.
Shut up! This swimming pool could be a wormhole through space-time itself!
It's a bit too much for someone like Yagi, as you can see. For the most part, these visits are enjoyable, lighthearted romps. But there are several challenges that our heroes do face. At school, for instance, there are some unpleasant bullies, namely Kyoko Kudo, who cruelly makes fun of both Narowe and Yagi.
Hi there. So when did you and the little alien become such pals, Professor Sci-Fi?
Shut up!
Scary.
Yagi doesn't take Kyoko's insults very well, but Narowe more or less ignores her, even when she says things such as this.
Weren't you walking with your boyfriend the other day? Huh? An eight-legged alien freak?
Some obstacles happen with Kazu and Narowe's relationship as well. For instance, in episode 6, The Impact of Love, Kazuto wakes up to find another girl standing by his bed.
Who are you?
Rise and shine! Breakfast is waiting downstairs.
Huh?
The girl, known as Rin Asakura, puts Kazuto under a spell and clings to him. It turns out that she has been sent by Inspector Tail Mesa to force Narway and her father to return to their home planet.
Love has an impact.
Predictably, Narway becomes very distraught by this, until she finally figures out that Kazu is being brainwashed. She determines to fight for him, but in the end, it's Kazuto's feelings for Narway and loyalty that ultimately win out. A similar incident occurs in episode 10, The Great Cosplay Plan. Here, Kazuto gets a chance to meet the voice actress behind his favorite anime character, Kiriri Kaibashira. Unfortunately, he forgets to bring a ticket for Narway too, which causes her to worry that she may end up losing him for good. Fortunately, an opportunity comes her way in the form of an upcoming cosplay contest.
Oh, and about your little boyfriend Kazuto? I asked him if he wanted to be a special judge for this contest, and he was so happy to accept. Now, what would make him want to do that?
So, with a little help from Yagi, she dresses up just like Magical Girl number 4.
And let's knock that stupid girl off her high horse.
Kazu's really gonna like this costume.
At this point, Kazuto has become totally disillusioned because Kiriri turns out to be a most unpleasant person. Worse still, he really misses his real-life girlfriend. Just at that moment, Narway appears and predictably steals the show.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm a magical girl who fights for love and peace. It's a direct hit to your heart.
The winner!
After all that, Kazuto decides he's had enough of Magical Girl number 4 for a while.
You don't have to wear that, Narue. Because you don't have to do that to impress me. I like the real Narue the best.
But these are not the only incidents that challenge the couple. One day at the beach, a deadly tsunami appears, which threatens not just Narway and Kazuto, but everyone in the area.
It's horrible. Everyone is going to die.
No need to worry though, a new character ends up saving the day.
Sub-Vector Drive engaging!
This is Haruna, who, like Bathyscaph, is an android spaceship. Incidentally, she even has a relationship with a human, Akio Shimada. In another episode, Narway and her friends pay a visit to Haruna and Akio's Hot Springs Inn and arrange a surprise wedding for the pair. And guess who gets to be minister?
We are gathered here in sickness and in health, in hard times. Line? Well, let's skip that.
Maybe
part.
I should
You
have
love
gone
him,
with the
he
guy from
loves
the
you,
bus
yada, yada,
station.
yada.
But perhaps the deadliest threat to our heroes is a gang of space terrorists who come from a galaxy with a name that is most difficult to pronounce.
From the Swan N System
The Swan N System. Avalon Alien.
The Swan N System, name abbreviated Avalon Alien.
These menacing characters attack Narway's family in the first episode, as well as the final episode when our pals are visiting a festival. They also prove to be very dangerous.
I'm a warrior who fights for love and peace, and this is a direct hit to your chest!
Oh, Kazu, haven't you learned by now? Fortunately, Rin arrives to help them this time, aided by 2 pals, Ryo Tanashi and Ron Tendo, both of who fight alongside Tail Mesa and the Galactic Federation.
Just leave the fighting to us, Rin. We'll be back in no time at all.
As you can tell by all this, each episode of The World of Narway introduces us to new characters and transports us, literally, to other worlds. That we share these experiences with Narway and her friends only adds to the fun. Further contributing to the appeal of The World of Narway are the voice actors who breathe heart and soul into these characters. But first, here's a bit of background about the show's release in America. It was picked up for American distribution in 2004 by a gone but not forgotten company known as Central Park Media. The New York-based facility, founded in 1990 by John O'Donnell, was one of the earliest major distributors to bring Japanese animation to a wider audience. Central Park Media had a rather eclectic, and some might argue, eccentric, collection of titles, which included some controversial stuff like M.D. Geist and the infamous Legend of the Overfiend. But the company has also issued titles which have been better received, such as Record of Lodoss War, Revolutionary Girl Utena, Animation Runner Kuromi, Night on the Galactic Railroad, Grave of the Fireflies, and their biggest hit, The Slayers. The World of Narway was one of the last titles the company was involved with before their liquidation in 2009. Unsurprisingly, the dub of Narway consists of recognizable names to viewers who have watched anime dubbed in the Big Apple. Narway's voice is supplied by fan-favorite voice actress Veronica Taylor, who is best known to fans for roles like Amelia from The Slayers, Sailor Pluto from Sailor Moon, and her most popular role, Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. Veronica has a special gift of bringing both exuberance and warmth to any role she tackles, and Narway is no exception.
I think she loves Kazuto because so far he's the only one who, even though he knows she's an alien, he doesn't treat her any differently.
Then let's go.
I think it'll be interesting to see where the whole relationship goes, and I hope you like it.
Veteran voice actor and activist Jamie McGonigal is the voice of Kazuto Iizuka. Jamie has played a similar nerdy character, Takeo Takakura, in another charming anime series, Magic Users Club. Kazuto is a somewhat toned-down version of that character, which isn't to say that he doesn't have his quirks.
Kazuto isn't your normal dashing leading man. He's a big ol' nerd.
Alright, I got magical girl number 4!
Who sits in his room all day and watches anime and reads magazines.
Naked, identical.
No, it's nothing really.
It's great because it explores a different kind of relationship. It's not just, your average high school girl and high school boy. It's a girl from outer space.
I'm in the world of Narway.
Marlowe's voice actor, James Carter Cathcart, credited as Jimmy Zappi, has played numerous zany, hilarious characters in various anime shows. Today, he's best known for playing James and Meowth from Pokemon. Maruo isn't quite as goofy as those two characters, but he does have some shades of them.
I love this guy. This guy is great. He's kind of a know-it-all. He's 14 years old.
Lesson number 1!
He's like the Cliff Clavin of Naro, anyway. But I had a ball playing him because I can relate, because I really don't know much, but I like to pretend that I do.
This is a shocking development indeed.
The voice of Kanaka is provided by another popular favorite, Rachel Lillis. Rachel has shown herself to be capable of playing any role, be it a kindly elder or a young child, or even a character who gets easily exasperated, like this! Case in point, Martina from Slayers Next.
That evil witch! You mark my words, Lena Inverse! The next time we meet, it will be your doom! Prepare to die! Viva Somocustas!
Kanaka certainly has her moments of exasperation too.
Oh, so they send me mean letters, scribble nasty things on my desk! I step on thumbtacks, my slippers are stolen, they break my pencil case, ignore me, won't eat lunch with me, they look at me like I'm some kind of freak!
Carol Jacobanis speaks for Bathyscaph. She has done a lot of voice work for anime dubbed in the Big Apple, notably His and Her Circumstances, as well as Boogie Pop Phantom. She portrays this stoic, down-to-earth character exactly as you'd expect, with appropriate warmth to boot.
Miss Kanaka, it is not recommended to point a firearm at a human. Please try to think of Miss Narway's feelings as well. She has been very, very worried about you, you know.
Narway and Kanaka's father, Tadashi, is played by Dan Green, who has a lot of credits in acting, writing, and directing many anime dubs.
I'm not actually from this planet, so it's not a matter of where necessarily. But allowing me to stay here with you may cause you some problems. Kanika, it's a misunderstanding.
Yet another fan-favorite voice actress in the cast is Lisa Ortiz, whose most popular roles include Diglett from Record of Lodoss War, and most notably, Lena Inverse from The Slayers. Lisa has often longed for chances to play despicable characters. The world of Narroway gives her a chance to do so. She voices school bully Kyoko Kudo.
The poor little alien can't even understand our language.
Magical Girl number 4, providing the sort of tone you might expect from similar characters she has portrayed.
A magical girl of love and peace can't be killed that easily, you should know that.
And even her voice actress, Kiriri, talking rather suspiciously like a certain Elmer Fudd.
Uh-oh, there I go again. I'm such a naughty little girl. I've broken up yet another happy couple.
Huh?
Please forgive me, jealous girlfriends. I just can't help it. Boys are like pinballs that are attracted to roses instead of weeds. Now, little Miss Weed, you should hurry on home.
Quite a talented cast, as you can tell. But the standout, at least in my opinion, is the one and only Michelle Knotts, who is the voice of Yagi. The story of how she got the part is a very interesting one in and of itself. How did it happen? I'll tell you. In 2003, at the Big Apple Anime Fest in New York, a voice acting contest was held. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for aspiring voice actors to win a role in an anime dub.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, rabbits, and even grasshoppers, come on by. It's time to begin Diamond High's famous and slightly infamous, but nonetheless totally awesome K-fight.
Look here, you girly man.
Back when I was a child, there was a game that we used to play. It's silly to be depressed by it.
What makes the dawn come up like thunder? Courage!
Wearing that thing on your head in public. Courage!
The contest was conducted by Tom Wayland, who would direct and write the script for the dub of Narway. Michelle was among the 12 candidates chosen to participate.
Hi, my name is Michelle Knotts, and I'm so excited to be here. Get that? And then there is me, the sole member of a cross. Last name Excel, first name Excel, or just Excel for short. No arrests, no convictions. Abacus skill level 4.
After performing a monologue, the contestants would be tested for their versatility.
You're an excited cowgirl. Go!
Once upon a midnight dreary, 500 we count weary.
Now you're Count Dracula. Hillary, senorita from the barrio.
Summon the visitor in greeting entrance at my chamber door.
Much I marvel, this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly.
For the grand climax, these aspiring voiceovers would test their mettle at lip-syncing and emoting to various clips from anime productions.
And it was tough because I actually went last. It was a very emotional scene because I had to actually dub over a 12-year-old girl who was scared and crying and being chased by an alien.
Do you want me to waste him too?
No, you can't, or the teacher will get mad at me again. I'm scared.
First place, the inaugural Anime Idol 2003, Michelle.
As a result of her delivery of that scene from Alien 9, Michelle not only won the contest, but the role of Yagi as well. The dub was recorded at the Crib Studios in Brooklyn. For Michelle, this experience would be the beginning of her lifelong dream to be a voice actress. Even better, she would get to meet several members of the cast.
It's been such an amazing opportunity to meet these people. And I had to hold myself back because I'd be like, oh my God, I saw you in this, I love you, but I couldn't do that.
Michelle had an especially fun time voicing Yagi's unhinged moments.
Am I dreaming? Or is this real? Or am I crazy? Or am I just seeing things?
Today, she is best known for her role as Jessie in Pokemon. As a matter of fact, Michelle and James became close friends as a result of working on that show. Perhaps her role in Narowe as Maruo's next-door neighbor was a premonition of things to come? I know what you're thinking. Why all this attention on the dub when certain fans insist that the best way to view anime is in Japanese with subtitles? Because I am of the opinion that there is nothing wrong with watching anime in one's native language track, especially if the result is a labor of love from everyone involved. The world of Narowe deserves to be recognized as one such dub, because the enthusiasm its cast puts into their roles is nothing short of contagious. Regardless of the language, though, you can't go wrong either way. No animated production, regardless of whether it be a movie or a multi-episode series, just comes down from outer space as much as we wish it could. It takes the talent and creativity of dozens of artists to undertake such a venture. Although it is difficult to find actual information on the production of Narowe, here are some people involved in the making of this tale. One of them is someone who is sadly not with us anymore, Mr. Toyo Ashida, the series director. He was born on April 21st, 1944, and had worked on other series well known to anime fans, such as The Mysterious Cities of Gold, Fist of the North Star, and the horror cult classic Vampire Hunter D. Mr. Ashida passed away on July 23, 2011 at the age of 67, but his work is still fondly remembered. Mr. Ashida was also the founder of the animation facility who worked on the world of Narowe, Studio Live. In this video, you can see a skillful team of animators and artists at work. Some of the animation process involves crafting model sketches, which serve as a guide to the animators on how the characters should look. Even the backgrounds are painstakingly laid out in sketched detail before they go into color. It's always a daunting task for any animated production. Sometimes animated shows in Japan originate from graphic novels, better known as manga, and the world of Narowe is one such show. The story made its first appearance in the May issue of the monthly Shonen Ace magazine in early 1999, written by Tomohiro Marukawa. Now here's where things get a bit complicated. While the anime series, broadcast in Japan in 2003, lasted only 12 episodes, the graphic novel series kept going and going. In fact, it didn't officially wrap up until 10 years after the anime show completed its run. In short, the graphic novel series had 98 chapters in total. 98! All in the course of 13 years. Can you imagine that? Perhaps the most frustrating part of all this is that American readers only received part of the story. Central Park Media translated the first 5 graphic novels shortly after issuing the series on DVD in 2004. Unfortunately, the company went bankrupt 5 years later, and readers sadly never got to experience the remaining 8 volumes. As of now, no US publisher has expressed interest in releasing the rest of Narowe's adventures. Nonetheless, the graphic novel series is of interest for various reasons. For the most part, the show is relatively faithful to the manga, but there are some notable differences in places. For instance, when Kazuto gets his chance to meet Kuriri, Narowe does indeed get jealous, just like in the show, but this time Kazu is quick to assert his feelings for Narowe. He even decides to trash his recently autographed pictures for Magical Girl number 4 for her sake, but Narowe insists that he doesn't. After all, as she says, anime is anime. Even so, she still does attempt to impress Kazuto by dressing up as Magical Girl number 4. Not at a cosplay contest, though. At his house! Another difference. School bully Kyoko Kudo gets a bigger role in the graphic novel and is shown to have a considerably softer side. In fact, she ends up befriending another character, Akira Nita, who is attracted to Naruwe, but of course, it's unrequited. Because the graphic novel series is so long, it provides the opportunity to not only introduce new characters, but also all sorts of additional adventures for Naruwe and her friends, a lot of which we never get to see in the anime. Some of these are simple trips to the zoo, or even a heartwarming Christmas gift story. But other adventures make some more bizarre choices. At one point, Kazuto gets turned into a cat for a few chapters. Later, both he and Naruwe become mice, temporarily. Still others transport our protagonists to alternate realities of their world. There is also a subplot involving Yagi seeking a career as a writer, and even a thrilling, drawn-out climactic showdown in outer space. It's all pretty complicated, to say the least. As unfortunate as it is that American readers were deprived of the rest of Naruwe's adventures, fan translations of the remaining graphic novels still exist online. Whether any publisher in America will pick up from where Central Park Media left off is anybody's guess. Aside from having a likable cast of characters and a warm, charming heart, the world of Naruwe is also filled with all sorts of valuable lessons. One of them is this: sometimes the best way to win a person's love is to be a good listener, as Naruwe's father Tadashi finds out when he meets his wife to be.
I just hate my job sometimes, but that's normal, I guess.
But perhaps the most important moral is how relationships can transcend boundaries. Just as Kazuto accepts Naruwe as an alien from the start, so too do characters like Kanaka and Yagi learn to overcome their initial prejudices and become true friends. That, in addition to several sci-fi references and clever humor, make this show an ideal treat, especially for an occasion like Valentine's Day. It is indeed a direct hit to your heart. If you haven't heard about this show, I would seriously suggest giving it a look. The show was rescued and reissued on DVD by ADV Films after Central Park Media went bankrupt. But as of now, the show is currently out of print. Perhaps someday another publisher may pick up this series and bring it back. It deserves a second chance at life. Before we say goodbye, here's the ending song which closes each episode from the world of Naruwe. Well, that wraps up tonight's panel. I hope you enjoyed it, and more importantly, that I've managed to encourage you to check out this charming series. As mentioned, this is a great little show with a lot of heart and humor. I have more panels coming up, and they'll premiere here on Virtual Panel Theater. Keep your eye open for them. And I hope to present some of these panels in person at conventions when they start again. Until then, though, this is John Turner saying, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay healthy, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.